Mr. President.
From Tennessee is recognized.
President, I believe I have 8 minutes, and I would ask the chair to let me know when I have a minute remaining.
Senator's correct.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the senator from Kentucky wants to overturn a clean air rule which would limit the amount of soot and the pollution that causes smog from blowing from Kentucky and other states into Tennessee, or that blows from Tennessee into North Carolina. This is no solution to a serious problem, and I want to give the 4 reasons why I'm going to vote no, and why I believe Senator Pryor of Arkansas and I have a better solution, which is to put the rule into law and give the utilities enough time to comply with it. Reason number 1, auto jobs. First thing Nissan did when it came to Tennessee 30 years ago was to go down to the Air Quality Board and get an air quality permit so it could operate its paint plant. Fortunately, our air was clean enough to allow that to happen. Nissan came, so did tens of thousands of jobs. If it hadn't gotten the permit, the jobs wouldn't be there. Volkswagen's come to Tennessee. We want to make sure that its suppliers can get an air quality permit so they don't have to go to other states. So the first reason we need to stop air from blowing into Tennessee from other states is auto jobs. Second, the Sevier County Chamber of Commerce right next to the Great Smoky Mountains, that's where Dolly Parton grew up. I walk in to see them, they say their number 1 goal is clean air. That's because 9 million tourists come to see the Great Smoky Mountains, not the Great Smoggy Mountains. This is not a group of hotbed of liberal regulators. These are the most Republican counties in Tennessee. Where I come from, which is the next county, we haven't elected a Democrat to Congress since Abraham Lincoln was president, but we like to breathe clean air. Our tourists do as well. Tourist jobs are the second reason I'm going to vote against the Paul Amendment, and 4, the Alexander Pryor Amendment. 3, the American Lung Association tells us that dirty air blowing into Tennessee makes us unhealthier. It causes some of us to die, especially children and old folks. Number 4, this is no solution. It has no chance of succeeding. It won't pass the Senate. The president will veto if it does. And what will it do? It'll throw it back to bureaucrats and lawyers and bureaucracy and uncertainty and delay. That is not a solution. So the only reason for it is as a political message. And what kind of message is it? Is that we favor dirty air blowing from Kentucky into Tennessee or Tennessee into North Carolina? That we favor not doing our job but turning it back to bureaucrats, lawyers, uncertainty, and delay? That's not a solution. If we want a message amendment, there are many better choices. The Obama administration, particularly the EPA, is a happy hunting ground of unreasonable regulations. There's the Boiler MAC rule, which must have been created on another planet. There's the Cement MAC rule, which would increase the amount of pollution in the air. There's the ozone rule, which the president himself had to withdraw. There's the coolant rule, which seems to have no benefits. There's even talk of a farm dust rule, which Senator Johans is talking about. So why aren't we talking about those instead of a proposal to make it easier for dirty air to blow in our state, make us unhealthier, drive away tourists, and cost us auto jobs? The senator from Kentucky says it will cost. It will cost. His sources say 2%. The Tennessee Valley Authority, the largest public utility in the country, says it's $1 to $2 a month. $1 to $2 a month. That's a reasonable cost for what we're getting. They're closing 18 coal plants. They're going to operate 38. They're putting pollution control equipment on all of it. That means we're healthier. That means more jobs. That means more tourists. The senator from Kentucky says emissions are declining. That's true. I'd like to finish the job. Except in Kentucky, they're not declining. Soot went up by 20,000 tons in Kentucky, according to the EPA, between 2009 and 2010. Some of that might blow into Tennessee, drive away jobs, drive away tourists, make us unhealthy. The Bush administration had an identical rule to this in 2005. Utilities have known since that time, for 6 years, it was coming. Most, like TVA, have complied with it or are beginning to comply with it. If we overturn the rule, it's no solution at all. I'm ready for Congress to step up and accept its responsibility. Do something. Someone said to me, is that part of your new independence? No, I've had a clean air legislation in this Congress every year since I've been here, because I think it's our job, not the bureaucrats. Jobs and health was what I was elected to work on. I'd rather not pass the buck to bureaucrats and lawyers. So I invite my colleague to join Senator Pryor and me. Let's put the rule into law. Let's give utilities enough time to comply. They don't have to comply on January 1. They have to comply 15 months after that, and we would give them still another year. We're going to have a president elected next year. Whoever it is, his or her EPA will write new rules for communities across the country about how much clean air they have to have. And if we make it harder for them to do their job by allowing dirty air to blow into Nashville and Chattanooga and Memphis and Knoxville from other states, then when Volkswagen suppliers come to the state office to get their clean air permit, they won't get it. And those jobs will go somewhere else. There's a lot I admire about our neighbors in Kentucky, including their 2 distinguished United States senators. But I don't want their dirty air blowing into Tennessee, and I know North Carolina doesn't want our dirty air blowing into North Carolina because they've been suing us for 12 years about it. The American people are tired of messaging. I want to see the Great Smoky Mountains, not the Great Smoggy Mountains. I want tourists to come to Tennessee, admire the mountains, and leave their money. I want the Volkswagen suppliers to be able to locate their plants in Tennessee, and I want all Tennesseans to be able to grow up healthy and not have to worry about dirty air blowing in from other parts of the country. The Alexander Pryor Amendment would limit that dirty air. It would help our communities. It would make us healthier. It will create jobs. Let's do our job. I ask my colleagues to vote no on the Paul Amendment and become a co-sponsor of the Alexander Pryor Amendment to clean the air up and do it in a way that helps utilities provide electricity at the lowest possible. I yield the floor.
From California is recognized.